In this video, we'll discuss the bone markings at the distal or lower extremity of humerus. You have done with the upper extremity and shaft or body. Now land markings, bone markings at distal end of humerus. The first two bone markings at the distal end of humerus are lateral epicondyles and medial epicondyle. Two epicondyles are present at the distal or lower extremity of the humerus. These are basically the joint surface which form a joint which are involved or participate in the formation of joint called as articular surface. These surfaces are lateral epicondyles and the medial epicondyles. This is the distal end of humerus. This at the lateral side, this is called as lateral epicondyle, and this eminence and projection which is highlighted is called as medial epicondyle. Lateral epicondyle is a small tuberculated eminence giving attachment to the radial ligaments of elbow joint. It is small eminence, and the large eminence, large projection is called as medial condyle. Medial condyle epicondyle is larger and more prominent than the lateral epicondyle. It gives attachment to the ulnar ligaments. Lateral epicondyle gives attachment to radial ligaments, while medial epicondyle gives attachment to ulnar ligament. Medial epicondyle is larger as compared to lateral epicondyle. Medial epicondyle also give attachment to pronator tears and to flexor muscles of the forearm. Ulnar nerve runs in a groove on the back of this epicondyle. On the back of this epicondyle, ulnar nerve passes. Okay, after these epicondyle, that is medial and lateral epicondyle, we come to the nether bone marking, that is capitulum and trochlea. Capitulum is basically a reticulous rounded articular surface. It is present lower than the epicondyle. If you see in the picture, this is lateral epicondyle. Below the lateral epicondyle, there is a rounded structure. We call this rounded structure as capitulum. It also gives attachment to muscles. So it is an articular surface present below or lower than the epicondyle. The lateral portion of humerus is smooth, rounded. It is named as the capitulum of humerus. It articulates with the head of radius bone. Next bones of the forearm are radius and ulna. So this capitulum is attached with the radius bone. Now next bone marking is trochlea. This spoon-shaped bone marking is called trochlea, and this round bone marking is called as capitulum. Above there are two condyle. This larger eminence is medial condyle and the small eminence is lateral epicondyle. Trochlea. The trochlea is spoon shaped. It is spoon basically. Spoon shaped medial portion of the distal humerus and articulates with the ulna. Capitulum articulates with radius, and this trochlea, spoon shaped trochlea, articulates with ulna. Now we have covered four bone markings: lateral condyle, lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, capitulum and trochlea. Lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, capitulum, and the spoon shape is trochlea. Now there are three fossa cavities. Fossa means depression or cavity in a bone. So there are totally three fossa present in humerus at the distal end. First is coronoid fossa. It is present in the interior surface of humerus, in front of humerus, interior surface of humerus, because one view is front and one view is back. Okay, if you see in this picture, interior view and posterior view. Here is a small cavity you can see in the interior view, and at the posterior view, at the back of the distal end of humerus bone, there is a cavity, large cavity. So the cavity which is present in the front is coronoid fossa, and the larger cavity which is present at the back at the posterior view is olecranon fossa. Coronoid fossa, it is present in the anterior surface of the humerus. It is smaller than the olecranon fossa, as I showed in the picture. Coronoid fossa is smaller than olecranon fossa. If we compare, coronoid fossa is present in the anterior surface, while olecranon fossa is present at the back of the humerus. Coronoid fossa is smaller, olecranon fossa is large, triangular depression. If we talk about this, coronoid fossa, it received the coronoid process of the ulna bone. When we study about ulna, so we will see this coronoid process. In ulna bone, there is a landmarking called as coronoid process, which attach with this or fix in this coronoid fossa to form or during flexion of the elbow. This coronoid process fixed in the coronoid fossa during flexion of the elbow. Olecranon fossa, you all know, is larger than the coronoid fossa. It is at the back of the humerus, a triangular depression. This is, now we have studied 5 bone marking. Let's revise it. This small eminence is lateral epicondyle. This large eminence is medial epicondyle. This structure around it is capitulum. The spoon-shaped structure is trochlea. In anterior view, in front, at distal end, the cavity, small cavity, is known as coronoid fossa. At the back, in the posterior view, the triangular large cavity is called as olecranon fossa. In this coronoid fossa, in ulnar bone, there is a coronoid process which fits in this cavity during flexion of the elbow. Now, one bone marking is left only, that is radial fossa. Above the capitulum, if you see, this is a capitulum. Above the capitulum, there is a small depression which we call as radial fossa. Obviously, where some bone marking of radial bone attached or fits. Okay, the structures are highlighted. Radius bone attached with capitulum, ulnar bone is attached with trochlea. You can see in this bone, capitulum attached with radius and the trochlea attached with ulnar bone. This is a small cavity, coronoid fossa. This small projection is lateral epicondyle, and this large eminence is medial epicondyle. And this is radial fossa. This is radial fossa. Above capitulum, there is a depression which is called as radial fossa. Above the front of the capitulum, above capitulum, if you see, there is a slight depression which we call as a radial fossa, It receives the head of the radius when forearm is flexed. It receives head of radius bone only when forearm is flexed, bent. Flex means bent. These foci are separated from one another by thin transparent lamina of bone. In all these foci, there is a separation by a thin lamina of bone. At the shoulder joint, if we talk about the shoulder joint, the head of the humerus articulates with the glenoid fossa of the scapula. We have studied it before also, that the head of humerus bone fits or articulate or join with the scapula glenoid fossa of scapula. If we talk about the distal end at the elbow joint, the capitulum of the humerus articulates with the head of the radius and trochlea articulates with the ulna. If you see, this capitulum attached with the head of radius and this trochlea attached with the ulna.